She packed her last bag at 2 a.m. while her 3 children slept. She didn't wake them. She didn't leave a note. She just closed the front door behind her, walked to a waiting car, and never looked back, not once. Her name was Diana. She was 31 years old. And the man she was leaving behind, Marcus, had done nothing wrong except fall short of the life she thought she deserved. They had met in college, back when dreams were bigger than bank accounts. Marcus was studying engineering. Diana was studying business. He proposed with a ring so small she almost said no. Almost. She said yes because she loved him. At least, that's what she told herself. But years passed. Marcus worked hard. Long hours, honest hands, a steady paycheck. It was never enough for Diana. She wanted vacations in places she'd seen on Instagram. She wanted a house in a neighborhood where people drove cars that cost more than their neighbors' rent. She wanted more. Always more. Diana said, "Marcus, we've been in this same apartment for 6 years. 6 years. My sister just bought her 3rd property." Marcus replied, "We have 3 kids, Diana. We're stable. We're okay." Diana said, "Okay isn't enough. I didn't work this hard to be just okay." Marcus didn't argue. He never did. He just lowered his head and went back to the blueprints spread across the kitchen table, while their youngest, Lily, slept on the couch with her hair in 2 lopsided pigtails. He was a property developer. Tailored suits. A laugh that filled up the whole room. He met Diana at a networking event she had attended on a whim, and within 10 minutes of conversation, he had said more about ambition and vision than Marcus had said in 10 years of marriage. Richard said, "A woman like you shouldn't be sitting still. You should be building something." Diana told herself it was nothing. Then she told herself it was just a friendship. Then she stopped telling herself anything at all. Within 4 months, Richard had offered her a life she had only ever seen through someone else's window. And Diana, tired, restless, hungry Diana, said yes to all of it. The night she left, Marcus was awake. He heard her. He heard the zip of the bag, the soft creak of the hallway floorboards, the click of the front door. He lay completely still in the dark, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of his family being split in 2. He didn't chase her. He didn't call. He just turned onto his side, pulled the blanket up to his chin, and exhaled slowly, like a man who had already been grieving long before the loss arrived. The oldest child, Aaron, was 9. He woke up the next morning, walked to his parents' bedroom, and found only his father sitting on the edge of the bed with his face in his hands. He stood in the doorway for a long moment. Aaron asked Marcus, "Dad, where's Mom?" Marcus looked up. His eyes were dry, not because he hadn't cried, but because he had nothing left. He opened his arms and Aaron walked into them, and the 2 of them sat like that for a long, long time while the morning light crept across the floor. If this is hitting you already, drop a comment below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because this story is only getting deeper. Diana's new life was everything she had imagined. Richard's penthouse overlooked the city. They traveled to Paris, to Santorini, to Dubai. She wore clothes that had names instead of prices. She attended dinners where people talked about money the way her old neighbors talked about the weather, casually, constantly, without weight. She called the kids twice in the first month. Then once. Then she let the calls drift to every few weeks, then to holidays, then to almost never. Diana slowly said, "They have their father. They're fine. Children are resilient." She said it to herself in mirrors. She said it over wine. She said it so many times it stopped sounding like a justification and started sounding like a fact. But back home, Marcus was doing something Diana had not predicted. He was rising. Without the constant tension in the house, without the quiet war of wanting more, he worked with a clarity he hadn't felt in years. He started his own small engineering consultancy. It grew, slowly at first. A contract here, a referral there, and then faster, like a fire that had finally found oxygen. He bought a house. A real one with a backyard where Lily could keep the dog she had always wanted. He coached Aaron's soccer team. He learned to braid his youngest daughter Priya's hair, badly at first, then with a patience that made her giggle and hold still. He didn't date. He didn't rage. He just rebuilt. Quietly, completely, with his children at the center of everything. And the children grew up knowing exactly who had stayed. 3 years in, the first crack appeared in Diana's perfect life. Richard was having an affair. She found out the way women always find out. A phone left unlocked in the wrong room, a name that appeared one too many times, a gut feeling that had been whispering for months before she finally stopped drowning it out. Diana asked, "Who is she, Richard?" Richard replied, "Don't do this, Diana." Diana asked again, "Who is she?" He told her. He told her calmly, with the same polished confidence he used in boardrooms, as if the conversation were a minor inconvenience rather than the detonation of everything she had sacrificed her family for. She moved out of the penthouse within a week. She took her clothes, her jewelry, and a silence so heavy she could feel it pressing on her chest when she breathed. Hit that like button if you saw this coming from the very beginning. And keep watching, because the hardest part of this story hasn't even arrived yet. She rebuilt again. She used her business contacts, leaned on the network she had built in Richard's world, and launched a small consulting firm. It did well. She found a new apartment, high floor, city views. She told herself she was fine. She told herself she was thriving. She was not fine. At 41 years old, Diana had money and no one to come home to. She had success and no one to share it with. She sat in her beautiful apartment on a Tuesday evening with a glass of wine she didn't finish and a phone full of contacts she couldn't call about the thing that was actually wrong with her. Diana, to herself, alone, I won. So why does this feel like losing? It was Priya's 18th birthday that finally broke her open. She had seen it on social media. A photo. Marcus standing in the backyard with all 3 children gathered around a cake. Aaron was tall now, broad-shouldered, laughing with his head thrown back. Lily was beaming. And Priya, little Priya, who Diana had left at age 4, stood in the center of it all, glowing, unbothered, clearly beloved. Diana stared at that photo for 40 minutes. She called Aaron's number with shaking hands. It rang 3 times. Then, Aaron said, "Hello." Diana replied, "Aaron, it's me. It's Mom." The silence on the other end lasted so long she thought the call had dropped. Aaron said, "I know who it is." Diana replied, "I just wanted to call and say happy birthday to your sister. I wanted to hear your voices." Aaron said, "It's been 4 years since we heard yours." She had no answer for that. She sat with the phone pressed to her ear, listening to the distant sound of laughter in the background of his life, the party she was not invited to, and felt something inside her finally, fully collapse. She had spent a decade chasing the version of life she thought she deserved. And while she was chasing it, the life she actually had, the real one, the one with fingerprints and hair in lopsided pigtails and a husband who loved her quietly, had continued without her. Completely, beautifully, without her. She drove to Marcus's house for the first time 6 months later. She didn't call ahead. She just showed up at the door on a Saturday morning with nothing in her hands and everything in her face. Marcus answered the door. He looked older, calmer, like a man who had long since made peace with a war she had started. Diana quickly said, stammering, I know I don't have the right to be here." Marcus replied harshly, "No, you don't." Diana said further, I need to know I'm sorry. I need you to know." Marcus studied her for a long moment. Then he opened the door a little wider. Not an invitation, not forgiveness, just the door being opened. Marcus said, "Lily's in the kitchen. Aaron's upstairs. Priya doesn't want to see you yet. You should respect that." Diana replied, "I will. I'll respect whatever they need." She walked into the house she had never lived in, the home he had built without her, and stood in a hallway lined with school photos and soccer trophies and a child's drawing taped to the wall that read, in crooked crayon letters, "Dad is my hero." She pressed her fingers to her mouth. She did not cry in front of them. She saved it for the drive home. Both hands on the wheel, tears running quietly down her face, 10 years of choices finally showing her exactly what they had cost. The children did not run to her. That is not how these stories go in real life. Not the honest ones. Aaron kept his distance for months. Priya took almost a year before she agreed to meet for coffee, and even then, she sat across the table with her arms folded and her jaw set, looking so much like the little girl Diana had left that it was almost unbearable to look at her directly. Priya said, "I want you to know something. I'm not angry anymore. I decided that. But I need you to understand. Dad was both of you for us. Every parent-teacher night. Every nightmare. Every first day of school. He was both of you. Every single time. And we were fine. We were more than fine. You should know that." Diana said with tears. "I know." Priya replied, "I don't think you do. Not yet. But maybe someday you will." Diana nodded. She reached across the table slowly and placed her hand near, not on, her daughter's. An offering, not a claim. Priya looked at her mother's hand for a long moment. Then she placed her own hand on top of it. Not warmly, not fully, but she placed it there. And that small, cautious gesture, that single point of contact between a woman who had run and a daughter who had survived it, was the beginning of the only thing Diana had left to build. Not a second chance. Not a reset. Just the long, honest, painful work of earning back the right to be in the room. Marcus never remarried. He said once, to a friend over dinner, that he had found what he was looking for a long time ago, and when it left, he realized it wasn't really gone. It had just taken a different shape. His children called him every day. Every single day. One of them, without planning it, had made it a habit so early they couldn't remember starting it. It was just what they did. They called their father. That was the inheritance he left them. Not a house. Not a car. Not a bank account, though he had built those too, slowly and honestly and on his own terms. The real inheritance was this, that love, done quietly and consistently and without condition, leaves a mark that no amount of absence can fully erase. Diana learned that lesson too. Late to undo the damage. But not too late to stop adding to it. And sometimes, if you are very lucky, that is enough to start with. She left for money. She came back with nothing but regret, and had to earn her way back, one quiet moment at a time. If this story moved you, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second and it means everything to this channel. Subscribe if you're yet to. We tell stories that stay with you long after the screen goes dark. And drop a comment below. Do you think Diana deserved a second chance? Or was the damage already done? Let's talk about it. See you in the next one.